Ladies and gentlemen, boys and gentle girls, welcome to another episode of Self Care. Woo! If I could actually sing, trust me, like I'll write you love songs every day. Like I would take my time to write you beautiful songs, but I can't sing. So I would just say welcome or welcome back to Selfscape. It's another Wednesday. And I'm really glad that I'm finally recording, like back to the Wednesday mojo where I usually record on Wednesdays. Trust me, I want to keep to my schedule. I want to keep to time. I want to keep to the schedule. I want to show up when I say I would. That's my 2024 mantra, and I'm really trying to do it. A lot of interesting things have been happening, by the way. A lot of really pretty and exciting, interesting things. I will keep them very close to heart for now, just because some of them are quite young. Let me put it that way. And I would like them to maybe grow, or I would like to see if they do have prospects before I share them with you. And some, they're not really growing, they're ending. So I want to be sure that they have ended and I'm in a place where I can talk about them. So a lot of interesting things are currently happening. But that's by the way. How are you doing? How are you doing? How has your week been from the last time that I published an episode till now? I hope that you've been great. You've had your what do I say? I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what to say, but I hope that you've been good. That's basically what I'm trying to say. I hope that you've been good, that you've had a wonderful time at work, your employers have not stressed the living daylight out of you. And if you live in Lagos, traffic has not finished you. Oh, and this is even the most important one right now. We're currently 28 days in February, right? We're almost done with February, and there's still heat. I hope the heat has not finished you, because let me tell you something. The heat has shown me shaky. This heat is showing me pepe. I went for CDS yesterday, and I was sweating like a goat. My goodness, I was sweating. What am I saying? I was dripping. I'm not joking. Like, that's how much sweat my body was producing. And the heat was just too much. The sun was so hot. It's actually very frustrating. Even right now, as I'm recording, I'm currently sweating because there's no light, obviously. Not like I expect them to do good. I'm sorry. But there's no light, there's heat, and it is what it is at this point. But I'm here, and I'm going to, shut out how I feel about this light and heat situation, or anything I might feel towards the agencies in this country. I'm going to try as much as possible to shut it out for the next 15-20 minutes ish while we have our conversation. I'm just here to relax, have a good time, and really just talk about the things that have been on my mind, because there are a lot of things in my mind. There are always things in my mind. If my mind was what do they call those people? The heavyweight lifters. There's something they call them. I can't really remember what they call them. There is a name they call them. But yeah, weightlifter. If my mind was a weightlifter, I promise you that it would have muscles like Arnold Schwarzenegger's muscles. It would definitely look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, because my mind is carrying a lot of things, a lot of heavy things. But let's start from one thing that I saw a while ago. I think I saw it last month on social media, because everything recently has just been social media. I spend quite a good amount of time on social media. Work hazard. Why am I calling social media? Social media. Work hazard, because of my job. So I tend to see a lot of things, even things that I may or may not want to see at that point. I will see it. For example, people that are airing their dirty laundry on social media. In my head, I'm like, why? Because we're just here for gist though. Social media is not a real place. Nobody's here to offer you real solutions. Well, some people do offer, but in general, everybody just wants to know what's going on. Like, I'm a ball and that's it, which is not healthy, but we still do it sometimes, So as I was saying, I saw this very interesting tweet, and I thought to myself, how do I answer this? And to be very honest, it has been on my mind, because I find it quite interesting. I think that maybe a couple of you would have seen it already, if not all. And I just think it's something that I should talk about. And I just haven't been able to. As at the time I saw it, I didn't have an answer to the tweet, but I think I do now. Let's dissect this tweet. So the tweet says, if the world offered you one chance with just viral video, that the whole world, oh, sorry, I'm reading it very wrongly. If the world offered you one chance with just a viral video that the whole world is going to see, and you would only be known for whatever you were doing in that video, what would you want it to be? My God. And every time I think about this tweet, I'm like, wow, this is a very intellectual question. At the same time, it's really mind-boggling. If I was to be known for just one thing for the rest of my life, obviously the gospel, yes, 100%. And I'm not trying to say gospel aside, God forbid. But I'm just thinking, I would definitely want to be known for the gospel. But let me break it down into, let me try to be maybe logical or illogical, and say I will break it down into the different aspects of my life. So if you were to be, which is not the logical way to answer the question, obviously, because they want just one answer and they want just one thing, which I already said is the gospel. But I'm just thinking about the other aspects of my life that I obviously want to highlight and want to talk about. And I think that it would be media. It would be the Jesus Talks media. So for those of you who are probably first-time listeners, you stumbled on my podcast, you did not know me before, you're listening to me for the first time, a friend recommended the podcast, you find this soothing, and you just think, well, I like the way she sounds. I'm in the process, or I am currently building a Christian media company. A Christian media and production. Is it media broadcasting? Media and broadcasting company. Sometimes I confuse myself. It just happens. Media and broadcasting company. And I think to myself, if I was, to be very honest, now that I actually look at it, it will still point back to the gospel, because what I'm doing is very gospel Christ centered, and I am really, really just using media as a vessel or as a platform to preach about Jesus Christ. So essentially, I think that I would be known for the gospel. I think you will find me talking about Jesus. I hope and I pray to God that that would be my life story, where somebody would say, yes, Esther or Hadassah was known for this one thing, which is talking about Jesus relentlessly. I would like that to be a legacy that I would have, because I think that's the greatest legacy that you can have as a person. Because again, at the end of the day, when we're leaving this world, we're leaving everything behind. We're taking nothing. The only thing that is guaranteed, or the only thing that we will be taking with us, is our eternal life that Jesus has bestowed upon us so graciously. And so, but if I'm going to be known for anything, it would have to be that. It would have to be that I am a child of God and I want the whole world to know about Jesus. Essentially, when I look at my life right now, like, okay, what am I doing that is distinct? I'm basically doing something about Jesus. My Christian media company, the Christian radio, the Christian podcast, the other podcast, not this one, you would find that, okay, everything I'm doing is centered around that. Even in church, I work in socials for church. I'm still using my job to propagate the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ. So that's why I'm saying that, like, if I was going to be caught doing one thing like in a video, I pray to God that that's the thing that you will catch me doing, talking about Jesus through media. I pose the question to you: if one video would go viral and you'll be known for only that one thing, what would it be? What would you be found doing in that video? I think it's a very thought-provoking question, and it would also help you to check the state of your heart, in essence, like as to where your priorities are, career-wise or maybe faith-wise. Because I already said, for faith-wise, it would definitely be the gospel. For career-wise, it would definitely be the Christian media company that I'm currently building. And so it will be media, it will be communications. You will find me talking about those things or doing those things. So for you, what would it be? And if it were to be hobbies, like, oh, maybe I had a hobby or something, it would be reading a book. Let's break it down that way, saying like, what would it be for you if you were to be caught doing one thing for the rest of your life on video, and that's the thing you'll be known by for the rest of your life here on earth? Now back to my second tweet. So I saw a tweet last week also on the same social media, and it was a tweet where a certain governor was being given an award. And I was just speechless. For best governor. I live in that governor state, so if you know where I live, you obviously know where I'm talking about. And he was giving best governor. Like, it's just not making sense to me, because as far as I know and as far as I can remember accurately, I moved here in 2016, and this is 2024. So that's like 8 years of living here. At the time I moved here, the roads were really bad, very bad. They were still motorable, but they were bad. There were no gutters, the roads were not tarred, they were breaking, and whenever it rains, they'll get flooded and get muddy and just get really messed up. And I was like, oh, there'll probably be improvements. I've been here 8 years. That's 2 terms since I've been here. And I can categorically tell you, 100% factually tell you that the roads have gotten worse. So they're even more broken now. You know, when the road is getting bad and you begin to see the stones, like the very, very first maybe foundation of that road, so to speak. That's how bad these roads are. When it rains, it's so bad that my dad was coming home last week and his car sank in the road. They had to pull it out. A tanker full of petrol got stuck. They had to stay on the road for 3 nights and were driving very, very slowly every day till they were able to fully move that tanker, because they couldn't transfer the petrol from that place where it got stuck to the filling station it was supposed to get to. That's how bad the roads have been. Some of the roads are no longer motorable and people have to drive through streets to get to where they are going. When it rains, you will literally walk in a pool of water to get to your destination. So when it rains, they just don't bother going out. Like there's no road. That's what we always, there's no, except you want to swim, and swim you will. There are no gutters, there are no drainage systems. Every street is not tarred. Almost every street does not have a gutter, which I don't know. I think that should be the job of the local government or the local council development authority or LCDA or whatever they call them, and CDAs. None of that is here. I believe we have, but they are not really effective. And this governor was awarded the best governor. I laughed. And I asked myself, is it the same states where it has to be Delulu? It just has to be some form of the audacity. Like, what is that? These people have smelly audacity. The audacity to nominate a governor when his state is in shambles. The audacity to nominate a governor when people don't have roads. People have to wake up as early as 5 and they will stand at the bus stop. When I first moved here, there were lots of buses, keke napeps, bikes, and transportation was so much easier. Now, you can count the bus that ply the road. You can actually stand and count them. You can count the keke napeps. You hardly find them at the bus stops. When it rains, people have legit trekked home. The distance from the major bus stop, that is like a landmark, to inside the area or inside the town is like from Maryland to Fadi. And I promise you, people have trekked that distance because whenever they get to the bus stop and it has rained, you will not find transportation. So you will not find bikes, you will not find buses, you will not find keke napeps because the road is really bad. One time it rained so bad, the road was damaged. It was really slippery. You could fall into the gutter just by walking on the road. Like you could slip into the gutter. My dad already almost got into the house. He found out that I was still on my way coming home. And because he had passed and seen how the road was, he had to park his car and walk the distance back to the major bus stop so that he could bring me. He couldn't even drive back. That's how bad it was. And we had to walk under the rain. We had to walk that distance all the way back to his car. And somebody tells me that this is the best governor. How is that possible? Make it make sense. Like, it's gaslighting now. Abi, you are not even acknowledging my complaints or my pains. And you're just going ahead to act like you're the best thing that's happened to me when you're not. And you're making it seem like I'm the one that doesn't know what I'm saying, or I'm the one that is ungrateful for all the hard work that you put in. Meanwhile, you haven't even put in a fraction of work. 8 years and the road has deteriorated this much. And it's just frustrating. You guys, oh no, I don't know which is worse, the dry season or the rainy season, because the rainy season, it gets muddy, it gets flooded. The dry season, it gets so sandy and dusty that literally take a bike from my house to the main bus stop. By the time I get to the bus stop, I already turn white. My clothes is very dusty. I always have to take a rag with me or tissue, or I would have to buy a rag when I get to the bus stop so I can clean myself. If not, by the time I get to Lagos State, I would already be brown. And this is not an exaggeration. I cannot wear white clothes out of my house. If I'm going to wear anything white to any function, I would make sure that I pack it get to the function and change my clothes. Sometimes I've had to pack my clothes to church and change in the bathroom. Do you know how crazy that is? That's just another level of sufferhead in the same Nigeria. And somebody's telling me that this is the best governor, the best thing to happen to my to where I live. You're joking. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I really can't deal with it because it doesn't make sense. But this is Nigeria that we live in. This is the reality of the average Nigerian. They gaslight us every day. I mean, and it shouldn't be normal, but at this point we just take it because what can the righteous do? Now, my NYC chronicle for the week is that I don't really have that much of a chronicle, to be very honest. I had a very good CDS day. I got there pretty early because I had a meeting that I was not going to miss for anything. I think by past 10 I was already done with CDS. I don't know, maybe because the LGI was around, they kind of sped things up. Everything went really fast and smooth. I don't know. It was general CDS day. It was just really fast. I was shocked. I was able to jump print on time, like the jump print stuff. The scanner actually worked. I was stunned. Well, I was there like 7:19 and I left past 10. So that's about 3 hours of my time. But at least I didn't stay till past 2 like I usually do. So this time around, I would say that my NYC CDS day went okay, and I don't really have that much of. I still have beef with them, but at least not for yesterday. So that's everything I have for you for this week. Those are my thoughts, and those are the things I wanted to talk about. I hope that you're able to relate to everything I have said, and you're able to give me your own thoughts and opinions. I really would like you to leave comments under every episode. It would mean the world to me to actually see your responses and for you to share your thoughts. I've seen a couple of them, and I want to say a massive shout out to Talking Joe. Funny enough, I have never met him. We just interact on social media. I don't know how I'm calling social media, but you have to deal with it. Also, thank you, Bukola. So these are the 2 people that have left responses for me so far, and I just want to give them a big shout out, right? Thank you so much for always listening to my podcast and for sharing your opinions and your thoughts with me. I do have a response on Apple Podcasts, but like I'm talking about like people that actually use Spotify. Did you know that you can actually leave your response at the end of every episode? Now you know. So I would love to see your response next week. Bye. Have a wonderful week. That's not a good way to close the episode. Oh, okay. Have a wonderful rest of the week. What am I saying? Enjoy the rest of your week. I hope that it goes good, and I hope that you just have a good time. All right. Till next week Wednesday, God willing, we'll gather here again to have a conversation. Bye, y'all.